want to be entertained. Kinda does taste a little bit like wood, at least to me. So is everyone okay? Like, is everyone doing all right? Because things just seem a little bit out there. Hello and welcome to Empathic Times. My name is Amira, and this is the first and hopefully not last segment of news you wish was fake. At least I wish that it was fake. About 3 weeks ago, a new ad premiered and it featured Aubrey Plaza. She's an actress very well known. She's played a part in White Lotus. She did an ad for the Got Milk campaign and it got a lot of people, presumably people on the majority of the left and liberals, very upset and outraged. So, in order to fully understand why people are outraged, let's take a look at this video and see what's going on.
You ever looked at a tree and thought, can I drink this? I did. Hi, I'm Aubrey Plaza, co-founder of Wood Milk, the world's first and only milk made from wood. Here at Wood Milk Orchards, we're certain that our artisanal wood milk will be the only milk you'll want to drink for the rest of your life. Why? Because I said so. Our wood milk is bottled right here in the forest where the trees hit the dirt, which locks in the flavors like cherry, maple, and of course mahogany. And if you can't pick your favorite, that's okay, because they all taste like wood. Here's how wood milk is born. Not born, exactly. More like squished into a slime that's legal to sell. Let's give it a try. Got wood? Is wood milk real? Absolutely not. Only real milk is real. Then what did I invest in?
Now, let's take a look and see what it was specifically that got people in such a tizzy. Aubrey Plaza is the unfortunate new face of the milk wars. Big Milk has sent Aubrey Plaza to its front lines in the battle against non-dairy milk. In a new Got Milk style ad, she parodies the dizzying slew of alt milks on the market by promoting a fake brand of wood milk. Dressed in farmer chic flannel and soothing earth tones, Plaza takes a sip of grayish sludge, smiling through a pulpy milk mustache. Is wood milk real? She deadpans. No, only real milk is real. Struggling against a world where the FDA has officially let almond, oat, and soy cop its name, Big Milk has probably paid Plaza huge bucks to convince the youth to please drink dairy. The viral spoof was created by the Milk Processor Education Program, which sounds like a wholesome after-school activity, but is actually an industry marketing firm funded by big dairy producers, and the very same group that came up with the iconic Got Milk campaign, which ran from the 1990s until 2014. But the plan has backfired. Instead of making non-dairy milk look stupid, the ad has gotten backlash from Plaza stans, making Big Dairy look stupid. They're calling the actress a dairy propagandist for siding with Big Milk. The outrage got so real that Plaza seemingly turned off comments on her sponsored Instagram post. "Aubrey, no!" screamed one TikToker narrating the Wood Milk campaign video. "Why on earth are you getting in bed with Got Milk? Nobody likes milk. Like, literally nobody." The thing is, the youth's Big Milk wants to conscript have already defected from this culture war. Fresh off a White Lotus season, Plaza must have seemed like a platonic ambassador to rally Zoomers and millennials back to dairy. But it's too late. Despite clever marketers investing Shark Tank-like contests and deploying athletes and famous YouTubers to fight milk's flop era, last year Gen Z customers bought 20% less cow milk than the national average. So this is one article that talked about this. There is another from today, and they talk about Aubrey Plaza facing more backlash from her dairy milk industry ad. So this is what I honestly just found kind of hilarious. And so these are some of the tweets that people were super outraged by, voicing their complete disdain for Aubrey, for milk, for Got Milk, and all of that stuff. One says, "The fact that this is actually a weirdly covert ad for dairy industry is bonkers. Aubrey Plaza, dairy propagandist." I'm so heartbroken, y'all. Aubrey Plaza out here doing ads for the dairy industry, trying to make fun of plant milks by shilling wood milk. The desperation. Aubrey, how could you? This Aubrey Plaza wood milk thing has made me so mad. It's a marketing campaign for dairy milk paid for by Got Milk, who are a dairy industry marketing lobby. And it continues. The people that actually created this ad said, in a world where dairy milk is one of many choices, our fictitious Wood Milk brand is designed to encourage consumers to educate themselves on their beverage options and the differences in nutritional profiles within. While you may be able to make milk out of anything these days, not everything is created equal. We welcome the conversation and response. And other people said, really disappointed that you're not only endorsing dairy milk, but also participating in an ad that mocks plant milks, commented one user on Plaza's Instagram on a post unrelated to the campaign because she turned off her comments, saying that they're unfollowing. Another person commented, real milk has real victims. Seems kind of cowardly to poke fun at non-dairy alternatives and then turn off the comments. And there were those that applauded the campaign, saying, I will drink any milk you tell me to, Aubrey. And then there's, of course, more. People are just very upset and very outraged by this. So this was another article that said, while Plaza's mock TV commercial is tongue-in-cheek, the dairy industry is serious about its message. Only milk from cows is real. It's an odd claim given that people have been drinking milk from plants for centuries, but plant-based dairy and meat products have also been subject to industry attacks, charging that they are overly processed, another odd claim considering the dizzying complexity of modern-day meat and milk production. But the stakes of milk wars goes beyond mere aesthetics. While the Wood Milk commercial touts the realness of cow's milk, it fails to mention the very real harms of dairy production. Air and water pollution, greenhouse gas emissions, inhumane treatment of cows, and dangerous conditions for a low-paid and vulnerable workforce, half of whom were immigrants in 2014. Here's a fact that is 100% real, based on this Vox article. Shifting some of our meat and dairy production to plant-based is critical to meeting climate targets, and doing so would reduce air and water pollution and prevent animal suffering. But that shift is made all the harder when the incumbent industry has an enormous advertising budget and immense power in Washington. It's safe to say that millions of people who regularly drink plant-based milks don't think it tastes like wood. Otherwise, the industry wouldn't have grown fast enough to account for 16% of fluid milk sales. The product's ascent into coffee shops and the dairy aisle has been swift enough to cause the conventional dairy sector to counterattack. U.S. per capita dairy milk consumption fell by over 25% from the mid-90s when Got Milk ads began to take over the airwaves to 2018. The last thing I want to get into, and it says, I'm guessing most of you are aware Aubrey Plaza starred in a Got Milk commercial that attacked alternative milk, saying it isn't real, with a parody video on a new milk she is releasing called Wood Milk. After spending most of the day reading through the many comments, it was resoundingly negative feedback, most simply expressing sadness or disappointment in her for doing the ad. The few comments that were in favor of her ad weren't received well and were few and far between. She has turned off comments on the post, and it is clearly a very bad look for her, and she didn't realize how bad it would be. The positives, popular opinion is that dairy milk is bad, and Big Dairy is desperate enough to attack alternative milks. Okay. So why is this news? Why is this news? Why does it matter? And why am I covering it? Well, partly because it's a little trendy, it's a little fun. And because I saw this ad. I see this ad all of the time, and I find it absolutely hilarious. As someone who uses dairy alternatives, I thought it was hilarious because I have had those kinds of experiences where I'm drinking a different kind of milk, whether it's soy or almond or oat. Specifically almond milk, it doesn't taste good to me unless it's one of the ones with lots of additives and fillers and sugars and carrageenan, which is actually an inflammatory, and that's something that personally I'm trying to reduce inflammation as much as possible because I suffer from chronic inflammation. That is why I use dairy alternatives, specifically oat milk is the one that I prefer the most. But when I saw this ad, I thought it was just so funny because it's one, really good marketing. And that's what companies do. I mean, Big Milk is not the only one that puts massive amounts of money towards their marketing campaigns. They pay millions and millions of dollars to get their products to sell. And a lot of this is true, that the dairy milk industry has been decreasing since the 90s, since the Got Milk campaign. The thing is, though, is that during that time, actually prior to the 1994 Got Milk campaign, milk was a very huge staple across the country. It was extremely common. It was something that people got delivered to their doors every single morning. It was promoted as something that would make you big and strong because it has a lot of protein and it has vitamin D, especially if you drink whole milk. If you're gonna drink milk, whole milk is really kind of the best one that you should drink because it's going to give you the best nutritional benefits. Now, here's my thing. There is a lot to critique about the dairy industry. A lot of these critiques are valid. Big Milk has a lot of things to answer for, like was noted. The treatment of cows, the treatment of workers, what it is doing to the environment. However, I have talked in a previous video that a lot of what is being told to us as citizens, as everyday people, is actually a load of shit when it comes to what's happening with our climate today. We are not the ones that are responsible for the bulk of what's happening with our climate. It's about 20 to 25 companies, specific companies across the globe that are about 75% of the emissions and are causing about 75% of what's happening to our global climate. That's why if someone is going to say that they are outraged by this campaign because of the dairy industry and it's increasing our climate crisis, it's not to say it doesn't have a little bit of an impact. But let's get serious. It is not everyday people and it is not farming en masse. It is a little bit, but not to the bulk that we are constantly being fed through the propaganda machine, which is marketing campaigns. Dairy alternative milks are gonna do what they can do to make money. That is their goal. They don't really care about you as a consumer, which, as we see in a plethora of videos that you can find online, different additives, preservatives, coloring, things that have zero nutritional value are being added to our food, to our beverages, to keep us consuming, but that have over time a serious effect on our immune systems. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is fact. Feel free to look it up because it's true. It's real. I've talked about it in a few other videos, so feel free to check those out. I will link them down in the description box and at the end. But if you're going to say that your main reason for wanting to not use dairy milk is because of what the dairy industry does to our climate, just be aware it's not the bulk of the dairy industry that's causing our climate crisis. They have a little bit, but not all. It's 20 to 25 companies that make up 75% of the emissions that are affecting our climate. Another thing that I wanted to do is actually just get an idea of what is the most popular alternative milk that people consume en masse, and particularly here in the United States. And I found that it is almond milk. Almond milk is the most sold type of plant-based milk in the United States. Within the span of 3 months in 2021, almond milk accounted for a sales value of $344 million US. Almond milk blends with coconut and cashew generated an additional $19.6 million in sales. Almond milk is followed by, in order of largest sales value to smallest, oat milk, soy milk, and coconut milk. A variety of other plant-based milks, such as pea, cashew, rice milk, and others, make up the rest of the U.S. market. Soy milk is expected to see a decline in sales. So there is, a lot of money to be made in the alternative dairy market. Almond milk is the most popular one. And almond milk is actually a milk that I used to drink as much as I could, even though I really did not like it. Which is why I found that ad so hilarious, because choosing an almond milk that doesn't have a whole bunch of added sugars and flavorings, just a standard unsweetened almond milk, kind of does taste a little bit like wood, at least to me. So that was my thing. So knowing that almond milk is the most popular alternative dairy product that's being sold in the United States, I thought it would be important to kind of look at the impact that almonds have on our planet, on the climate in general. And there is an argument that almond milk is also bad for the environment. Now, it's not as bad as dairy, but it's still not the greatest kind of crop to be growing. And I also know this as a fact because I grew up in Northern California, north of Chico. This was an area that grew almonds almost exclusively in hundreds of orchards. And we would drive past them. We would have to turn off the vents and like cover our faces because of just the amount of pesticides that you could smell and would almost like make you sick and gag, because you could see how these trees were sprayed. These trees are extremely fragile. So if there's an extreme storm, they have to bring in new trees, and that adds an additional cost. Almonds also are very high in needing water consumption. They are also grown primarily in California, specifically Northern California. So in looking at this, one of the things and one of the reasons why people look at almond milk as being pretty bad for the environment is that they take a long time to grow and produce, and the production of almond milk requires vast amounts of water and energy, which means that the cultivation of almonds often results in scarcity of water and pollution of waterways. I would even see crops across streets, and in some places like a quarter acre to a half acre away, being affected by the way that they were having to produce the almonds and the pesticides that they would have to spray, because it almost turns into like a Terminator crop. Like, not necessarily, but it makes it extremely difficult for people to be able to grow other things. It also makes it extremely difficult if a farm is wanting to be organic and not have pesticides. If they have another farm that's near them and wind is going to bring pesticides over to their crops, it can affect their status as being organic. It's all connected. It's all connected. Almond milk is a popular dairy-free alternative to cow's milk. It's made from finely ground almonds and filtered water. It's rich in vitamins and minerals, including calcium, vitamin D, and vitamin E. It's a good source of protein and healthy fats. Almond milk is lower in calories than cow's milk and doesn't contain any cholesterol or saturated fats. Those are some good positive benefits. But some brands of almond milk and other dairy products contain carrageenan, which has been linked to gastrointestinal inflammation. When choosing almond milk, look for brands that are carrageenan free. And that is a big deal. A lot of the reasons why people go into these dairy alternatives is because they want to have low calorie, maybe they're on a gluten-free diet, they're vegan, or they're wanting to do something that's healthier. But unfortunately, so many of the times when we're looking at a product that's healthier, it's not necessarily healthier. So it's one of those things to be mindful of. The other aspect is that almonds, while they're not horrible, they consume a lot of water. And the almonds that are primarily grown here in the US most almonds, an estimated 82%, are grown in drought-afflicted California, where it constitutes a multi-billion-dollar industry. The number of orchards has doubled in the last 20 years. So again, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and its main area, 82% of its production and growing, is in California. And that has been a drought-stricken region for almost a decade now. It's been for several years. Yes, there was a nice good rain that came and it has filled up reservoirs, but we don't know what the summer is going to bring. We don't know what kind of fires are going to happen and what that's going to do and what kind of impact that's going to have on both the industry and just the climate itself. It's a lot of serious issues that are coming about. And water is a really critical component for us to live, but also to grow lots of different crops. But almonds are one of the worst. They consume so much water. You need water in the growing stage, and you also need water in the production stage because it's going to be mixing ground almonds with water. So that's basically two areas of where you're going to need the water. And you're going to need the water to clean and to make sure that you have sanitary equipment when you're going into the production stage. And one of the other issues too, which was correct, and I understand the critique, is that the workers that are cultivating these crops, they're low-paid workers, and a lot of times, not everywhere, but a lot of times these are undocumented immigrants that are doing the bulk of this work because it's underpaid work, it's extremely difficult work to do, and They don't want to pay good wages, even though it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, because like I have said in so many other videos, their main goal is to get profits to the top. They don't care about the little people, the actual people that make their businesses what they are. They don't give a shit about them. The last bit that I want to talk about, because it's another thing that I have talked about here on this channel, I have covered the water crisis around the country. I've also covered bees and their vanishing population. One of the things that happens, especially around almond orchards, is the effects that it has on the bee population. Now, we need bees in order to pollinate different crops. They are very essential for our ability to grow and maintain crops and get food. Our food supply is really important. Our food supply is kind of in flux right now. Everyone's trying to act like everything is okay, but there are a lot of signs to say that we should be very freaking worried about our food supply. And when it comes to bees being in decline, that is a huge one. I've covered that in another video, and I'll have that linked at the end. The practice of spraying pesticides on almond plantations to deter pests has other unwanted side effects. Almond trees require pollination in order to flourish, so vast armies of bees are often brought in to help with the process. However, the bees cannot cope with the substances sprayed on the crops, and so, just like human armies sent off to war, many of them do not survive the ordeal. This is grave news, not just for the survival of bees themselves, but also a myriad of other species, since the deterioration of pollination habits can have serious repercussions for all manner of other plants and animals. Indeed, cultivation of almost all human crops, not just almonds, rely on pollinators to aid with the process, meaning that a drop-off in bee populations can have a keenly felt effect on food security as well. Now, like I said, I covered this in a video where, because of Hurricane Ian in Florida, there was massive populations of bees that were completely wiped out. It's really sad. It's really devastating. So this was my thing. First off, companies, their main goal is to make money. How do they make money? They advertise and hope that we as consumers consume their products. Now, good advertisements do a good job and get people to say, oh, yeah, I want that either right now or the next time that I go to the store. Just like Burger King and McDonald's, they're constantly throwing shade at each other for different offerings that they provide. This was Got Milk doing the same thing. They're gonna throw a tiny bit of shade at dairy milk alternatives because they want to get more profits. They want to get more people buying their products. When we take a huge step back, that is the goal. That is the point of marketing. That is the point of their profit lines, and that's what their shareholders want them to do. And second, us as consumers, we do want funny ads because we get forced to watch them. A lot of times we can't skip them. So it's like, if you're going to take up space, entertain us. We want to be entertained. And that's what this ad was. I found it completely entertaining. And as someone who does drink dairy milk alternatives, it's like, why can't we laugh at ourselves? Why can't we find this funny? It's sarcasm. Like, it was like an SNL skit. It was funny. It's humorous. It's sarcastic. It's throwing a little bit of shade, and maybe it gets them a little bit more profit. Here's the thing. This is news that I kind of wish was fake, mostly just because people spent so much time and energy, and I'm spending so much time and energy covering this and talking about this, and people are just so outraged by this. I guess my thing is like, there's a lot of things happening in the world right now. There's a lot of issues. There's a lot of atrocities happening. Lots of people are struggling and suffering both outside and inside this country. We have inflation. We have the Ukraine war. We have BRICS. We have our government that just seems to fail us at every turn. We have so much going on right now. And this is where people want to focus their attention. I wish this news wasn't real, but it is, because people are so passionate and opinionated and so outraged. I just kind of wish the outrage could be focused on things that, in my opinion, are more important than Aubrey Plaza doing a Got Milk ad, talking about alternative milks, throwing a little bit of shade, and I don't know, promoting a milk that, like, at the end of the day, this is something we used to consume all of the time. It used to be promoted. And people wonder why people have vitamin D deficiencies and lower bone density and why people are just kind of chronically sick. It's because the food industry as a whole is constantly trying to tell us what's good in this moment and what's bad in this moment. I mean, first it was low calorie diets, and then it was Atkins, and then it was keto, and now it's, this and it's that. I mean, they are constantly changing their minds because they want to benefit from the moment, from what's popular in the moment and at that time. That's all these companies are doing. They don't give a shit about you or me. They just want us to buy their products. So if you're going to be outraged about Got Milk and Aubrey Plaza, have at it, I guess. I'm going to judge you, and I think other people are going to judge you, because it just seems kind of silly for this to be the thing, for this to be the hill that you're going to die on. But news you wish was fake, or at least I do. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell, and share with your friends. Let me know if you want to see more segments like this of news that you wish was fake, but unfortunately it's real. And as always, stay safe, take care, and be kind to each other.